Hey, Fred,
Hello, John.
got it.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hi. Hi, John. I can't hear you, actually. John's thing wasn't on, I don't think. Can you hear me, John? But I can't hear you for some reason.
Oh, you haven't,
What?
you have
what's the-
transcription on. Hold on.
Chat.
There you
Yeah.
Oh, that's Fred. Hi, Fred. And John. I can hear them. Am I all set up? Okay. Hi, John.
Hey, Liz.
Everything looks good. I can usually see the transcript as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Keep plug in your iPad.
Matt's here.
Oh, good.
Just waiting for Ron.
Okay, good.
What?
I almost didn't make it because my iPad was on the link. Whoops. Thank goodness I have a daughter here who can fix these things.
The dog's got to be on mute.
I'm sorry?
Put the dog on mute.
Oh, we've got a new dog. We've got an Old English sheepdog. He's a rescue.
Oh, really?
Yes, actually, my daughter got him. He's absolutely beautiful.
Where'd
Lovely.
you get him?
He came up from Georgia via New York, and there's a rescue organization there.
Oh,
His
good.
name is Watson.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
Right,
Dr. Watson, I assume.
Dr. Watson, yes.
Peter, how are you?
Hi,
Is that
everybody.
Hey,
Oh,
Matt.
hello. Hello. Do we have everyone now, John?
We don't have Ron.
Okay,
I thought Ron was coming.
he did say, he responded, in the affirmative, I noticed.
Yeah.
Well, it's just 5. Let's just wait a couple of minutes.
We also have the first 2 applicants are in the waiting room, so.
Oh, there's
Okay.
Ron.
Thanks, Maria.
Good.
Oh, that's Ron. Hi,
Yeah.
Ron.
I look
Okay.
very red.
You've been in the sun.
No, it's just the light. The light's
Okay, we've got everyone's on board, right, John?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to bring the meeting to order. The meeting on Tuesday, March the 8th, 2021 of Advisory Community on Community Appearance. First item on the agenda is 28 Durham Road for a sign light application review for a new illuminated sign. And who is making the presentation?
I am, but I'm having a problem getting on. Could you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Thank you. I can't see myself, but I don't care about that. Okay, thank you. I'm doing this from home. It's a new Zoom thing, so I stink at this, but I'll get through it.
Good.
Thank you. Would you want me to tell you what I'm doing or would?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Yes.
so Gaylord is moving into the suite one over from the Verizon store, 28 Durham Road. We installed that Verizon sign many, many years ago. So they told us they would like a matching one, 2 spaces over, above the windows, fitting between the brick to mimic that one. So the size is going to be exact, thickness, materials, height, width, the way we're going to install it. And that's why I'm here today. And then it was talk with John about the hours of operation, which I got after we spoke, to have the sign, if in fact it's lit, and there was talk about the Verizon sign, whether that is on at night or not. And I haven't seen it at night, but there is an electrical box tied onto the sign, which would indicate they did that to have it light.
Can we see a diagram of that and the
Yeah.
location of it?
Did you see this? Are you able to view that?
No.
Well,
No,
I don't know why my camera won't work, but I sent everything off to the, I forget who, in an envelope to get me. Yeah, there you go. Here comes Maria to the rescue. My camera's not working. But she was getting on to do that.
Here we are.
Thank you, Maria.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah. Is that where it goes?
That's where it goes. There's an open area to the left of that, and then the Verizon sign. If you're looking at it from Durham Road, there's an open set of windows to the left, and then the Verizon.
Oh, right. But you're not going to install another sign like the Verizon sign. It just goes in between the windows like that.
It goes in the windows like that to mimic the Verizon sign that's up
Oh,
already.
I see. Oh,
And it's the same width and the
it's there
same.
now. It's there now.
No,
Oh,
what's
the
there
sign is up
now?
already?
No,
Okay.
they had-
All right.
They had-
So it's going to be lit from behind during business hours. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. I think it looks pretty good. Ron, what do you think? You're
No,
the-
it's fine.
Yeah.
It's there.
Okay.
It's there now. It looks okay now.
Okay, good. Anyone have any other comments about it?
No,
No.
the only other comment is that I think I'm sorry, I don't have your name. It's that it would be lit at the same hours as the Verizon sign, right?
If their hours are the same, I was told they can only run this sign for Gaylord between their running hours, which is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Thursday, and Friday from 7 to 5. Those are their hours of operation. I don't know
Yeah.
what the hours of, Verizon might be open till 8 o'clock at night. I have no idea what they're doing out next door.
Okay.
I just
Right.
don't.
So it'll be just lit while it's in operation, and that's,
Yep.
yes, the right, okay. I think the sign looks actually quite nice. I
That's
like
great.
the dark green, the typeface is nice.
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the sign for Gaylord.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? Okay, good. So you have an approval. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Good night.
Good night.
All right, thank you.
Sorry to see you. On to the next item on the agenda, 14 Railroad Avenue. It's the application for site plan review and special exception permit for 2-bedroom dwellings. We have seen this project before, so I understand there've been some changes. So we look forward to seeing the changes. Is John presenting? Hello?
John, you're muted.
No, it's just not on.
Okay, now can you hear me?
We can
Yeah.
hear you, John, but we can't see you.
Yeah, I don't know. I signed in as Maria sent me and here I am. So I don't know what's going on.
You have to enable your video.
I'm sorry, what? I don't have a thing about my video. Maria is going to show my stuff.
Okay. All right, well, so you and Maria are going to coordinate this. Maria's going to put what you want up on the screen and you will describe what we're looking at. Is that correct?
Yes, what I would like to have you put up is a colored site plan, Maria. So what I would like to do is to review what we have done to the project since you saw it last on February the 17th, I think it was, or whatever date that was.
Yeah.
First of all, we took all of your comments to heart. Originally, we had 16 units. We've actually dropped 2 units from the project to help us open up the project. First item, building A that's up on Railroad Avenue. We changed the roof pitch. This was a suggestion from Matt, and that was resubmitted to the town. And we reworked the windows and the shutters. That building is no longer an ADA building. If you recall, as you come down the driveway, that we had parking in a couple of areas there. And if, John, can you put an arrow on the screen, John, or does Maria have to do that? But anyway,
What is it that you want to point out?
well, the small building that you come to next. So
Okay.
first of all, we eliminated a 5-unit building here, which had 4 townhouses and an ADA unit on the end. And that 5-unit building is across the street from this other 5-unit building on the right side. So there was concern about cars backing forth, backing into each other. So we eliminated building C on the left, which had 4 garages. We replaced it with a 2-unit, 2-story ADA unit. And then we brought a walkway from Railroad Avenue all the way down past Building A, behind the parking spaces that you see, in front of the revised Building C that comes all the way down and terminates where the driveway makes the T. That was a comment that people had about pedestrian safety and so forth. So now the parking spaces from Building B just back into the driveway and then they go. And then Building D, which is the one on the extreme bottom left, originally had 4 units. And so by eliminating the 5, we put 1 unit on the end of Building 4 on the east end, and then we had the 2-unit building. So that's where the units disappeared from. And if you could just scooch that screen up a little bit, Maria, you can see the relationship of our building to the Clarity building next door. The Clarity building next door is enormous, okay? It's both in size, footprint, and height. It's actually a 3.5 to 4-story building. There are 4 levels in that building, and ours are 3 levels. Building B and Building D are the 3-story buildings. Building C is a 2-story building, and the house up on the street is a 2-story building. We also eliminated the dumpster, and now people will keep their garbage in their garages. They will put their trash out on a pickup day. There's a spot behind each of the 2 ADA units where they keep their trash cans. And then if you scoot down on the screen, Maria, other direction, oops. Up next to building A, where we have an entrance into our basement, we've done a trash enclosure there for the 2 cans for building A. The little section, if you go over to the left, Maria, if you could scoot the screen a little more. This shows you the relationship between the 2-story ADA building and the 3-story building on the right. And if then scoots the screen up, and you can see they only overlap about 30 feet, I think it is. A little more. So now you can see the relationship between the 2-story building and the 3-story building. It's a much different scale project. We think it really fits much better. I think the comments that you guys made were really good. And I think the project has really improved tremendously with it. And so if you go down to the next slide, Maria, it shows I think building B. That's the 5-unit, 3-story building. And then if you look to the right of the picture, that's a blow up of the typical N unit. That's the one on the right. And it shows the colors and the siding of that we have proposed, where we have a larger clapboard at the lower level and the second level. At the third level, we have a 4-inch clapboard, which is done in a lighter version. And then in the gables, we have a shingle pattern that's darker. And then the darker roof that we have is consistent throughout the development. The small colored elevation is the right side of that building. The lower level is the garage. The mid-level is the living dining room, and the top level are the 2 bedrooms. The other thing that we have, if you look at the porch on the large elevation, each of those townhouses has a 5-by-9 porch right off the kitchen that overlooks the driveway. So people can come out and have a cup of coffee or tea and, see what's going on in the area and the neighborhood, which I think really helps make it a real community. So let's go to the next slide. This is the 2-story building. The bigger elevation on the left is the driveway facade, where we have 2 entryways, and the unit has an ADA bedroom at the first floor with living room, dining room, kitchen, and it goes up to a bedroom with a very small little loft area at the top of the stairs. So one could have a place to sit, or you could put a desk, but essentially it's a 2-bedroom unit. All of the units are 2 bedrooms. And scale-wise, it certainly relates to the building up on the street and to the other buildings that are actually on the street. And Maria, if we back up to the earlier documents, we have a streetscape drawing, which was part of the whole package that was in this email. John, I don't know if you want to talk about landscaping as well.
Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I think I figured out what I was doing wrong. Can I
Okay,
Okay.
this is the streetscape uh, from Railroad Avenue. And I'm not sure if this is not the revised one. Somehow this is the earlier one. This still shows the flat roof pitch of our building, but the new one has a steeper roof pitch. And it's all made better to scale than that was the original submission. The new data has 222 on it, Maria. That one had 14, I think.
Mm. Maria, you let me know when you're done, and I will probably share my screen and put the new landscape plans on from my office. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm frozen right now.
Okay. Can I share my screen?
Yep.
Okay, let's go to. Nope. No. It's LP3. This must be LP1. Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Not a lot of change from a landscape standpoint from our last application. I'll just point out a couple things that John has pointed out. I think one of the nice new elements of this design is the walkway that will lead down through the whole area. Okay. We've kept the outdoor gathering area the same. The front building now has the same outdoor area for this building. As John said, we're probably going to go to each unit is going to have its own trash pickup. So there's a trash unit here, and there are 2 on the ADA units. The rest of the units will probably have them in the garage. What that does is that allows us to delete the dumpster that was on the site. I think that's probably the right way to go. That's the way we've done them. I'm on 3 or 4 other multiple housing things. I think the individual pickup is probably a little bit easier. We were able to add 1 more shade tree from the last application. The existing privet that is there is going to remain. As John went into, we still have the same fencing. It's probably going to be a white cedar left to weather that runs where my mouse is now, and also starts here at the back of the front house and runs down this property line. The individual units are going to have the same style fencing in between each of these. I'll bring up a site plan that shows 2 of the units so you can get a better feel for that. A couple of little things. We added some new red cedar on this side. Good choice on this site. It's all bank run gravel. They will give some softening to the edge of this unit from the road, from Bradley Road. All right. And we are going to have a path or a right of way from our unit onto the Bradley and Wall parking lot. I believe the fire department chimed in saying they would like a secondary emergency access or exit for here. So it will be processed stone. So it's going to be constructed to receive a fire truck. It's going to have a gate on it also. All right. It is probably not going to be paved except for the first part of it. So this 1 unit could back out and go. Let me move to the, okay, these are the 2 ADA units. Now you can kind of see what's happening around the units. Each of these is going to have a level terrace or patio
John,
out
some
back.
your
You can't see that.
image, there's only part of it showing
It's just a thin strip.
across the top. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the whole drawing, John.
Still can't see it, huh?
No.
Can you see this one?
No,
Nope.
Yeah,
Apologize for that. Let me see if I can. This is 3. Is that any better?
no,
No.
yeah.
it's just the top
Oh,
part.
I'm
across-
sorry. My fault. I'm kind of new to this.
Uh,
There we go.
Voila.
Yeah. Okay. I apologize. I have to get out of the first script to get to this one. So these are the 2 ADA units. Okay. You can see this is a sidewalk coming down from Railroad Ave, the entranceways, the rear terraces on both of these. This will show you the 6-foot fence that's going to help frame this in and give these rear units some privacy. There's another section of fence in the middle of the building, and then another section back over here. These trash units would be behind each of these ADA units. And you can see the plant material is very simple. My slash line would be a planting bed, ground cover perennials, mostly in the rear of the units. As you move back out front, I went to a little bit more evergreen material. I used dwarf fophagelia at the entranceways, and creeping liriope will be used as a ground cover in this project.
John, can I ask you one question? How do they get the trash out from behind the buildings to the front of the buildings for
Good question.
pickup?
On the ADA units, Ron, I'm going to guess that the trash hauler would actually go back and get it.
Around
Just
the
like at
building?
my house, the trash comes onto my property, gets my thing and brings it to the truck.
Okay.
Right. There's also, I guess, I think John said it, these boxes here are the air conditioning units that are attached to the units. John didn't go through it, but we're using light bollards, except for the parking areas, which still have a light post. So you can see there's a bollard here, one in the center of the unit, and then one at the end. And they lead up and down the walkway from Railroad Ave back down.
What material will you use for the walkway, John?
I'm going to guess the main walkway is going to be concrete, Liz,
Okay,
poured concrete. I'm going to hope that the rear units, I put down concrete pavers or a poured concrete terrace, depending on how the building goes.
okay.
All right.
Yep. I'm certainly glad you added that sidewalk. It makes a big difference.
I think it makes a really big difference. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Any questions on any of the landscape?
You said you put in another shade tree. Where did you put the shade tree?
That's up
The-
front.
Okay, let's go. Let me go back to a new share. We'll go back to. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so there are, and remember from the last time, we're using Zelkova, which is the same tree that's used on Railroad Avenue. So there are 2 Zelkova when you come into the development. As you lead down the drive, the 2 honey locusts stay around the outdoor area. But as you come down to the end, we were able to add another Zelkova on the corner of this building, Liz,
Uh-huh.
and then 4 more along the parking area in this area here.
And will they create canopies, these trees?
Yes, if you go down Railroad Avenue now, it's the same tree that's there. It's the same
Okay.
tree there are a couple Zelkovas on Boston Post Road in downtown Madison also. It's a medium growing shade tree. It's a vase shape area. So it's going to give, and it's a single stem that's going to be branched at probably about 7 feet. So I think long-term it will add, you know, a nice element to the development. It's a,
Okay.
you know, once again, it's a tight development. There's no way you could use a larger shade tree that would get out of bounds. I think the Zelkova will always stay in bounds.
Right.
Okay.
John, how tall will the trees on the rear parking area get between Clarity and this?
At maturity, probably 35 to 40 feet.
There's no way of getting another one in there, is there?
Not unless we have another island.
Oh, that's right. Well, you know, getting a point that I would like to make is you eliminated some units, but
Mhm.
you've got the same number of parking spaces. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 10 units that already have a garage. So you don't need 2 parking spaces for each of those units, I don't think. So is that a possibility, eliminating some of those?
I think
But we also
absolutely.
need to have some guest parking.
Right. Yes, I understand that, but
Well, one
And
more
there's
tree
also the
might,
situation that a lot of people won't park in their garage because they fill it full of junk,
oh,
which you can't control.
right. That's true.
I just thought that one more tree might make a difference for the, you know, the view from to Clarity, because it's such a huge building, that if there was one more tree in there, that might
Yeah.
break things up.
It
Well,
was
that-
soft.
There's another issue down here with these trees. We have to relocate that existing overhead line. And those trees cannot be there where this overhead line is being relocated to. Especially trees of that size. Only
But
some
there are
kind
three
of
there now.
dwarf tree could go there.
In the
Yeah,
rear
but-
parking, in the rear?
The new pole, Ron, is where my mouse is.
Yeah.
So the power is coming across the parking lot. I think that's one reason why we didn't put a secondary island in the middle of this. And then it leads up this way. So I think the power company, we've already discussed this with Eversource, I think wants a clean line for their overhead lines. I think that's one reason why we couldn't put a tree there. So it would just remain parking.
So these are the dotted lines you've got on the main plan. There's a sort of V shape
Yes, yes.
lines. Well, that's a shame.
It is. They can't go around the fence line in the back? Okay. Well, they would still be in the way.
Okay, well, does anyone have any more questions of John of read the
Yeah.
landscaping?
Yes, if
Okay.
there's to be individual unit trash pickup, is there room for one of those good-sized trucks to turn around?
Fred, that's a good question. On a development like this, it wouldn't be a large truck. It would probably be a smaller waste truck that would then empty its garbage into one of the larger trucks.
Yeah, because we got rid of the dumpster where they
Yeah.
need the bigger
Mhm.
trucks for.
I
Yep.
hope so.
So a small truck like some of the ones that pick up recyclables.
Absolutely correct. Like if it was picked up by Schweitzer has 3 different size trucks. On
Yeah.
residential units, they have a small truck that backs down a driveway to pick up. That's probably what's going to be picking up in a unit like this.
Okay.
All right.
Well, my personal experience is that the smaller the driveway, the bigger the truck.
Fred,
Well-
I couldn't hear what you said. Could you speak up, please?
My personal experience is that the smaller the driveway, the bigger the truck. They,
Well,
Well,
there,
you know,
if there is a big truck, is there room
find
for
out.
it to turn around?
But we have an 18-foot driveway, which is fine.
To answer your question, Fred, yes, there's plenty of room. The truck could come down to the end, back towards this line and pull back out. So there's plenty of room.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it's good that you got rid of the big dumpster too, because
Yep.
that was unsightly. Any more landscape queries or questions?
Yeah, I do. It's just something I noticed. On the left, the where it connects to Bradley and Wall, the fire department wanted access, but you have can a hook and ladder get in there?
Okay, say again, Ron?
It's just something I noticed vis-a-vis the fire department's request. Where it connects to Bradley and Wall, the fire department wanted access. Is that shape, the way the drive is shaped, can a hook and ladder get in there?
Yep.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
It doesn't look it on this plan, Ron. It's 14 feet wide. So any type of truck could come through Bradley and Wall, open the gate and pull right into that.
Well,
that
it's
thing.
just that it's curved up and then it straightens out. I didn't know whether a truck like that could, hook and
But
ladder. could
you
actually
should
make
look
that.
at my site plan.
Oh,
Mhm.
My site plan is a little more specific. John's is a little more creative.
oh, okay.
Yeah, you can see on the site plan it.
Yeah, just
Mhm.
wondering. That's
Fine.
all.
I'd just like to make some general comments. First of all, I'm glad that you took some of our comments last month to heart. And I like, in fact, what you did to replace Building C with the two AD compliant units. I think that works very well. It gives some sense of rhythm to the site. And the fact that they're 2 stories as opposed to 3 stories, I think is a good move. I really like the sidewalk extending down. It makes a huge amount of sense because that was a big concern of ours, that people would walk right out into the driveway. It also is part of the whole direction of what is wanted in the downtown village district, that sense of being able to flow in and out and be connected. And before this unit didn't seem connected. This helps a lot. The only thing that I'm a bit concerned about is that number of parking spaces that I said before. It just seems an excessive amount in such a small space. But I think generally, the other thing is I like the fact that because I was concerned at first about the AD building, that having no garage, but I see that you've put the 2 parking spots right there, which fine. That's how so many buildings are in Kensington North and South too. So it works, I think, quite well. Matt, can you sort of chime in and tell me architecturally what you think of the improvements?
Yeah, no, I think it's significantly better.
Can we
I
see
think
the
this-
elevations, please?
Yeah, I think the site plan, the sidewalk and everything reads well. I'm not sure we had a rendered one to look at before. But I think it is a lot better.
Do you have any more suggestions?
Not really. I looked closely at John's detailed elevation that he had, and I think on the the entrance side, it's attractive. It's a tall wall, as we all know, but it's broken up by floor, and I think he's varied the colors, and I think it looks pretty good.
Can we see the elevation, please? That colored elevation?
Well, the other thing I think will help tremendously are those porches that stick out over the entryway. That's really going to break the whole mass up quite a bit, because that's more at your eye level. And that's what you're going to be looking at and seeing.
And then when you look down from Railroad Avenue, your eyes immediately sort of pulled against 3-story buildings. You see a 2-story building and then it opens up in the inner part to the 3-story building. So I think that's another reason why it looks so much better. Ron, what was it you wanted to see?
The color elevation.
the color elevation. Yeah. So that is, there it is.
Matt, this is a question for you.
Mhm.
When I saw this, that two-story entryway design.
Mhm.
Oh, and John, sorry. To me, and maybe this is just a function of the drawing. It's perfectly possible. It looks like the top portion, the second floor, is a little top heavy given the spindly columns on the first floor. Is there a way to just visually somehow make that look like a two-story unit visually? By maybe,
Well,
I don't know
We,
how
we
that's
wanted the
accomplished.
roof pitch to match the roof pitch of the building.
Oh yeah, for sure. All of that is okay. It's just that the bottom, the first floor, construct the spindles, I guess, the columns, seem to be thinner than the top. It just doesn't seem to be continuous from top to bottom.
I bet that's the
Visually.
drawing. I
Well,
see
we could certainly beef those up a bit.
Matt, what do you think
Their idea
about
would
that?
be to maybe put a couple of small brackets, like little knee braces
Right.
on either side.
It looks like
Yeah.
it just lacks a little beefing in order to make the first and second floor look like an entire entryway from top to bottom,
I think that's a good observation.
architecturally, just
Yeah.
from a visual point of view.
Well, see, here's one suggestion. If you look at the second floor, we brought the fatter base portion up to the height of the guardrail. But down below, we showed it down. We can bring that up more, which I think will help, and maybe add another band at the top and make the top band a little little beefier. Plus, I think we could probably fatten these columns up a little bit.
Matt, do you?
Yeah.
Is that something?
Yeah, I think that would be good. Is that a turned column, John, or is it just a panel?
No, it's a square column.
Okay, yeah, because then you can definitely make them a little stronger at the bottom. I think one of the things is, one question I have is the detail that's in the pediment above the second floor deck. Is that open, or is that maybe even decided? I'm not sure, but I think part of this, Ron, is looking at a schematic drawing.
Right.
And I would imagine when John details this, it'll get a little more refined, that upper pediment maybe look a little lighter, would be what I
I'm not
would-
it's actually the first floor that I think is for
Okay,
me, just visually, when I look at it, if that was just beefed up a little bit, then the whole thing would look like one whole architectural unit.
Yeah,
Well, I
that-
think that's a good suggestion, and I think we can look to beefing up those columns and making them a bit more substantial. Maybe even have another band around the top, close to the ceiling at the first floor as well.
Right, or something that beefs up the bottom so that the top and the bottom all look unified somehow.
like one unit, in other
Yeah, like
words.
one whole
Yeah,
two-story unit.
I think it's a very
yeah,
suggestion.
I think you're right about that, Ron, and I think an extra detail below the profile of the deck joist on the second floor
Yeah,
would help, and a little heavier column. I think that would give it a stronger
I think
base.
probably that would do it. I mean, I don't.
At first it didn't really concern me, only because it's, more or less a Victorian style building. It reminds me a little bit of, the kind of things you would have seen 140 years ago, but
But it would make a
those
little
always,
statement,
those
I
always
think.
weren't necessarily the most attractive either now, when you
Yeah.
think about it. So I think
I think
something
it would
like
just make a
stronger
little
would do.
statement, a stronger
Yeah.
statement on the front of
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
buildings.
And you know what? I think it's a good suggestion, but it's a subtle suggestion, but I think it would make a much bigger impact. So it's a relatively easy thing to do. I think that's really good. Any other thoughts or questions? Well, would anybody like to make a motion? Matt, do you want to do it? Or should
Yeah,
I do it?
I'll make a motion that we recommend to planning and zoning report to them that this is consistent with what our objectives are, I believe. I think it's much improved, reduced density, and I want to just make a note that the two tallest buildings are deep into the site, a long way from being really visible. And I think that, I guess I'm getting into an oratory here, not a motion, but anyway, yeah, I don't see anything besides a suggestion on the porch that necessarily needs addressing in the motion. I don't know what everybody else thinks.
Well, Liz,
That's-
did you want to include your concern about parking in the motion, or?
Actually, I would like that. It may be something that comes up anyway, but it just seems to be a very large stretch of concrete there, right opposite, 5 of those units. So yes, I'd like to include to Matt's motion that we would suggest that that is looked at to maybe make that area a little less bleak. Put it that way.
This is,
And
Liz,
would-
so I understand, if we can talk about that for a minute. You were
Yeah.
talking about the parking spaces basically that aim in toward at the Clarity Building in the back there?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I would like to
if I
add
could-
that portico unit be just resubmitted, a new sketch to show the revision of that suggestion.
Mhm. I just want, my feeling on the parking is maybe opposite yours. I think that these kinds of complexes need some additional parking. I think it's hard, as John pointed out, to get as many trees in as you'd like, because you do have underground infrastructure too. I don't know what's under that parking lot, but I'm sure there's a septic or drainage or something. And so my feeling is that if they were to reduce the parking, that a year or two down the road, they'd probably just put it in anyway, because there's almost never, not never, but it's, having enough parking on these sites is sometimes a challenge. So I don't know.
You don't
And
think,
given the fact that you're so deep into the site and you drive in there and then you find there's, only 3 visitor spaces or whatever, I think is maybe a factor. That's my opinion. So I don't know how we couch that in a motion if we're able to agree to disagree, but I don't know.
you know what? I think that is an issue that planning and zoning will probably look at, because that's
I
part
would
of it.
agree. Yeah, I would agree.
Even though visually it might be more appealing to have more green or landscaping, I think that's something we'll leave up to planning and zoning. So
Okay.
exclude that from your motion.
Okay.
I would like to include the request to see a new.
All right, so we can do that via email. We don't have to wait for another meeting.
Yes, our public hearing is next Thursday. And we've had to put it off once because we had to see you guys before. So
Right.
I'd really like to not have to go another month before you guys look at this again.
Oh, if you get a redrawn schematic for that, you can send it to John DeLaura and he will transmit that to us and we can get back to you before the meeting next Thursday.
We'll do that right away.
All right, good. All right, Matt, did you complete your motion?
John, you want me to whittle that down? Okay. I make a motion that we recommend the project for approval with the condition that a modified, a little bit more detailed drawing be circulated of the front porches over the entries on the 3-story units.
Yeah, that's good.
Do we have a seconder?
Yes, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Matt.
Ron?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. John,
Thank you.
your changes are really welcome.
Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
John.
Thanks, John. And John.
Okay. Thank you, Maria, for putting up all of the drawings. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Third item on our agenda is 45 Wall Street. The applicant is Gulick Properties. Site plan review and special exception requests to construct 5 dwelling units. Increase maximum building coverage to 28.4% with increased maximum building height to 31 feet. And I understand, Matt, that are you presenting this?
Yeah, I am. I just want to get up for half a second, pretend I'm walking from where we usually sit in the room to the audience on this one, because I'm abstaining, obviously. I want to get some water. Hang on one second.
Sure.
Liz, I may have to bow out a little early on this.
What time do you have?
I might have to leave.
So,
What time?
Well, I'll see.
Okay, well, hopefully we can get through this. Okay,
So Travis Gulick is here, I can see, and I'm just gonna.
Hello.
Well, I can't see him, but maybe he's,
We know he's here.
maybe he just got out of the gym or something, but,
I'm on
Anyway.
I'm on another Zoom. No, I'm just kidding.
okay. So we're bringing this project back for the primary reason of reducing its scope and making it more economically viable. The original design was planned to be a rental building, and it had 9 units. And now what this is going to be is 5 townhouse condominium units that will be offered for sale. That's the big change. And what I'd like to do is maybe share my screen and I can walk you through the adjustments. Overall, the building footprint is the same. The building is reduced in height. However, the design and the architecture is the same theme in a way. So let me just share screen here. Where do I want to begin? Does anybody want to see any photographs of the street or the site to get reoriented, or is okay? No? Okay.
it's, there are a lot of different sort of levels and heights, and it's like a
Yeah.
road of hills back there.
This was the previous approval, just to remind everybody. And this was done as sort of a pair of connected barn buildings, one old barn and then one new barn that was a white and contemporary detailing. So it had some common parking. It had all these garages underneath, all these built, to get all these units in, all internal circulation. So what we've decided to do, whoops. So this was the elevation, the street elevation of that. And this portion of the building was a lot closer to the road than our new proposal. So in our new design, the building has, it's 2 barns, and I'll show you an elevation in a moment, how that works. And they're offset from each other. But it's the same idea of an older barn. This time we're going to use like a red cedar shingle on here. And then a newer contemporary barn on the other end. To walk you through the site here, the parking here, I think, is more or less the same as it was previously. There may be one additional spot in this row that serves there's a 1-bedroom apartment, and then on the second floor, and there's commercial space in the original Meg's building. And then there's just 3 driveways that are accessed right off of Brookside Lane, as any other home would. 2 of them are shared for 2 units, and the other one is a single driveway going in. We think this will, really, I don't know the dimension of that off the top of my head, but you probably could put 2 cars in there if somebody had guests or whatever, to keep Brookside Lane fairly clear. The building there's a little bit more space here than there was previously. And there's definitely more space, I think, over here previously from the other design. The basic landscaping is more or less the same. I've got to admit, I don't have all that information on here. However, there was, Coosa dogwood, a couple of them out on the street before, which we would do. And there's white spruce in the corner. There's a large tree here now, which I recall is not in very good condition. And we also had white spruce over here planned. There's a stockade fence along the property line here. And in the back, there's some patios for these 3 units. And then these are elevated decks because the grade slopes down and these decks would be off the ground they will not have stairs to get to the ground from there. But the way the grading works, these patios are cut in a little bit. So they're sitting down below the adjacent parking lot, which is the back of the nail salon building. And this corner right here is the nail salon building. You can see how close that is. So there's one little trash enclosure to the back of the mixed-use building, which we had previously. It's in the same place. We eliminated a dumpster for these buildings because these folks can just have garbage cans in their garages. So the one other thing I'll just point out before I go to the elevation, which I think will tell you more of a story, is that these 3 units have garages at grade, not under the unit. And then these 3 have garages under the unit. Again, it's just to try to work with the grade a little bit better. So let me take you to. Oops. It's always tough to manage all these windows on this thing. So this is a rendered elevation of the building. And I'm going to move my box out of the way. Remember, the building setback fair distance from the street, but the old historic Meg's building is here. And so this is sort of our older envisioned barn with a rustic weathered looking shingle on it. And this is the newer barn. And what we were trying to do here architecturally is sort of interlock these two. This facade right here is, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 feet forward to this one. I can't remember. Maybe it's 5.
John, which one are you pointing to? I don't see your cursor.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys aren't even looking. I'm sorry. I'm pointing to a drawing you can't see. There you go. A little different.
Oh,
So now you can see the colors I was talking about. So, Wall Street is this way. As the grade comes down, you've got these 1, 2, 3 units at grade. This one steps down a little bit, which will be a little terracing effect as you go down. So the garages are here, but you enter on the same level on these 3 units. And on these end units, the garages are down below and what's really an unfinished, basement type level. So what I was starting to say is you've got this sort of red cedar shingle, rustic material, and a fairly rustic, weathered looking vertical barn board on the bottom of this one. And then this is the white contemporary barn. And the two buildings interlock. And there you go. I did this little diagram to help you maybe understand it a little bit better. So this is the old barn, the new barn, and this barn sort of slides under and interlocks with the other one. I'll show you the floor plan in a minute. But the roof is very simple, which we thought was a plus. It just sort of helps signify the utilitarian, visual that we're trying to project. There are some shed dormers and things on this, particularly on the back side, but you can see that's the basic shape of the whole thing. Oops. What's that? Hang on, I'm sorry. I've got too many things open.
there we go. So
Yeah,
that's the facade that the people on Railroad
Brookside, yes.
Brookside Avenue see.
Yeah, which is the same as this. And here you can see the overall. There's the Meg's building. There's the nail salon spa behind it, or at least part of it.
Okay.
And, what you can't tell from this drawing quite so much, and we talked about having a rendering commission, but we just didn't really have time to get it done. But you walk in underneath this piece, it's sort of carved out. It's sort of, a modernistic sort of manipulation of form. So that darker material slides in underneath this, and this piece comes out over top. So it really looks like a two motif structure that who knows which came first, kind of an idea. This one obviously came first, but so the windows in here are casement. They're simple detailing with not much trim. And the barn is pretty much the same. However, we were going to use a dark green window here. And then these would be white. Everything on up here would be white, sort of in a contemporary style.
Are those shingles on the old part of the left-hand side, the old part of what looks like a barn?
Yeah.
What's
that-
shingles? Yeah,
Yeah, that's the older piece closest to the historic building, which was
cedar shingles.
the logical way to do it. we
Yeah.
thought. So I didn't render the other elevations, but I'll walk you through that quickly. Well, you know what I'm going to do, actually? I'm going to take you to the floor plan, which I think I have open. So this is the first and second floors. Standard unit layout. We think they're going to be a really nice, popular sort of size, decent sized garage. You've got cover over your entry where you come in. That's where those blue doors were that you saw in the elevation. And then down, lower as it steps down, you come in here at elevation 24. This is also at elevation 24. The entrance down here is at 19, I believe it says. So that even though the building roof line all stays consistent and in plane, there's a lot of up and down that's happening between these units. We've done our best to sort of keep it as simple as possible. We considered other design options like standard townhouse things where everything looks like it has its own facade. We thought this was a more appropriate thing for this area. So upstairs there are 2 bedrooms. I got these individually. So there's a what we're calling a 3rd floor, but that's a misnomer because it's the 2nd floor. No, it is the 3rd floor. I'm sorry, it's the loft level on these units, but it's the 2nd floor, living floor of these units. And then we've done these small lofts on the top level. You might get a nice little view out there. They're just an open, whatever kind of room for upstairs. There's no bathroom or anything up there on those top levels. But it gave us not when I do that. Yeah. So you can see the way the floor lines alternate, and I'm probably got you all half asleep by this point, but let me go up to the end of the building.
Liz, I'm going to have to go, I'm afraid.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Matt, can I, before I go, can I be bold enough to say one thing?
Okay, I hope.
The one thing that jumps out at me is that cutout window.
Yeah.
That's all. That was my.
Okay. Well, this is from the end profile, John. This is sort of what it looks like. It's sort of a freestanding, white frame of a thing that, articulation. So it's not really all that easy to see. So, if you look at it in plan, this is the corner of the white barn, and this is just open underneath. So it's sort of a contemporary, manipulation of the form is what I would call it. So
I meant on the 2nd floor, that cutout.
that's what that is right there. This is the 2nd floor.
Oh.
And so this is outdoors. The window's recessed back. So you get this shadow and this sort of almost freestanding column corner to the barn.
Oh.
In 3 dimensions, it would tell a story, but it doesn't so well here.
So it doesn't actually stick out because it's in line with the rest
Yeah,
I
of
thought,
the.
I thought it was cut into the building.
Well, it is. The facade, the flat facade is this around the corner. So
Right.
there's a big cutout here.
Right.
And there's a cutout there.
Right.
And there's a window, this window is in shadow.
right.
Okay,
It's the cutout walls that jumped out at me. I mean, if there were
Okay.
no walls there and it just simply made that jog, that would seem to make more sense to me, but
Yeah.
visually,
we were trying to jazz it up a little bit.
yeah. That seems to make, for me, the disconnect between the two buildings. That cutout.
That's a good point taken.
Yep.
Just a visual disconnect. I understand it.
Mhm.
That wall
Okay.
there, that grayed back wall is back further and the other is
Right.
forward.
Hmm.
It just makes for a disconnect for me, but that's all I really had to say. Anyway, I have
Okay.
to leave. So, sorry.
Okay,
That's
well,
right.
okay,
Thanks, Ron.
thank you. All right, Matt,
How do I get out of here?
I'm
All right.
sure you'll probably have to come back with materials and all of this kind of thing. Let me just make a query of John Delora. When are we going to be back at Town Hall with face-to-face meetings, John?
In May. So it'll be the
In May.
first meeting in May.
Really?
We're gonna be zooming through April.
So the next month is also next 2 months zooming. Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure it's so much better certainly on a project with a lot of materials to actually see them.
Yeah.
Part of the meeting. Anyway, sorry, Matt. Carry
That's
on.
all right. I'll quickly, we do have everything identified and selected, and I can just walk you through it. This is a rough sawn shiplap vertical. That's that barn board.
Mhm.
There's a deep natural cedar shingle here. This is that boral material, which we've talked about many times. It's a white vertical tongue and groove siding. We have just a stone veneer on this lower level here. And as you go around the building, I'll just show you this is looking to the west with your back to the Meg's building. That barn board continues around, the shingles continues around.
Those
There-
windows sort of seem very odd to me.
Yeah,
You know,
they're-
the movement.
yeah, I mean, they're random, in a way. They're just modeled after what's happening inside these in here.
Yeah.
But it's also an end of the building you don't really see. Because
So
it's in
that's
between the
facing
buildings.
east.
Yeah, it's looking east, but you're in this little zone.
Facing east. Okay. So that's facing towards,
You're in here, it's facing back to the older building. So we're really
Yeah.
gonna see the corner there.
okay,
So,
all right.
Matt, one question. What are those 3 black dots on Brookside Lane?
those are small post lamp lights, which are on our drawing A4.
Why wouldn't you put one down at the end of Brookside Lane, down at the last building?
I think we could, we talked about that. We could certainly do that. Or we could put one
I just
more
think
here.
it might help extend the lighting down towards the end of the project. And
Yeah,
make it look like it goes down a little bit further.
yeah, no, you could. We were trying to be genteel with the lighting, but yeah, I think we could certainly put one right here. We weren't sure it would look so great. There's not a lot of green here, but maybe
No, I
down
think
the-
it's over there. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, over here. Okay.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Good idea.
And I think it's a terrific opportunity to put some street trees on Brookside Lane. It could really use it.
Yeah. We had a red bud scheduled here before, and as I said, spruce here and a couple of Coosa dogwoods. And I think we probably will just, I'm not sure why we need 2 varietals out there, but
I'd stay
We
with
need-
one variety, and I'd also stay with maybe a shade tree as opposed to an ornamental tree,
yeah.
if you have enough room.
Yeah, well, there's plenty, I think there's plenty of room, which is good.
Would the power lines to these units be underground?
The feeds into these units will be underground.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you something. I drove down there today. For the first time, I saw at the end of the lane
Mhm.
a little entry and a wooden walkway. Is that part of the Texas Pond walkway with public access?
It is public access. I think it was something that was created when the Hearth, that's actually, the Hearth owns that.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, and so I walked that. It's really kind of nice. You can walk all along below, kind of below their parking lot. It's not so bad.
so will there be any views from these buildings of the pond? Will you be able to take away any undergrowth or?
I think from this end unit, you would have a view. It's
Okay,
probably just that unit.
yeah. Okay, all right, so that was just a sort of segue there. Sorry, carry on.
That's okay. One of my
We're
problems is
talking about the west and the east elevation. That's where we were.
Yes. Yeah, so this is definitely the least interesting. And again, it's trying to be a simple building, you know. We thought about, well, maybe you could do this whole wall and shingle, maybe it doesn't need it, but we could do some other sort of barn-like articulations on here, like we've done before, like maybe a little faux door, sliding door thing. But we didn't really feel the need to jazz that up too much.
Landscaping there too.
Yeah, well, there is some shown there. Yeah, we have boxwoods and woodulea and other things there planned. The backside of the building, which is, partly or somewhat occluded by the Oasis building. This is where you'd be standing on that property line between the nail salon and here. Again, we thought a lot about and manipulated these forms in a way so that these two building facade styles kind of interlocked each other. So we've got shingles here and here. These dormers are shingled, but then again, this is gives way to this newer piece, visually newer piece. And this is the west that you would have nice view of the pond, I think there. There's a fairly tall house next door, but it's not that big. So.
I think it would be a huge improvement to sort of understand all the different levels and elevations if you had a rendering like the first one, showing the different tones and the different colors. I think especially this south elevation, it's not that easy to understand how that's going to look from just this simple drawing. So
yeah, I mean it takes a little while you got to go back and forth plan an elevation with this.
Yeah,
and that's what it takes to really sort of see what's happening.
right.
But I don't know. I'm for what it's worth, I'm kind of excited about it. I think it's going to be a really cool building if we get approved. I think it could be a really, really nice building.
Matt, I think it's really nice.
Thanks.
Yeah,
And I think it fits in Brookside Lane. I think these 5 units are better than your first application.
I agree. It's definitely, every time we looked at this, the fewer ideas there were in terms of facade treatments or building pieces or everything else, the better it got. So we tried to really simplify the broad brushes, that being the major materials and we broke it into just 2 pieces instead of 3 or 5. And we felt that it just made everything simpler. I don't think the drawings, the 2-dimensional drawings, it's a little more difficult to read that. And I don't know what Travis thinks, but we'll get that rendering commissioned. I could probably have that for planning and zoning if we're going to be there.
well, I would like to see the materials, and I would like a further interpretation of this south elevation and
Okay.
that's
Well, that's the north, but
yeah. And also the silhouette, from the eastern, well, I guess you've drawn them, the east elevation, you can see the different roof lines, and you can see that also from the east elevation. So I'm not sure how you can put all of that together as we're zooming, but other people have just put a package together and taken it to town hall.
I I think it's, well, let me understand what you're asking for. I can bring actual materials to town hall. And or, photographs of what it'll look like. If you want me to do
Yeah.
that, that's not a problem.
Yeah,
As far as understanding what's really happening with the building, I think you just have to, I can sit here and talk, for another hour if you want to. And so we sort of walk our way through it. It's just so darn hard.
Okay, I'm out then.
With it's so gosh darn hard for it to do, even when you're sitting if you're in the conference table with me in my office, we would be going back and forth, and it's
Yeah.
totally possible electronically.
well, I think it's extremely attractive. I really do.
Mhm.
And I like from what we can see the different materials. I just would like to, I would actually just like to see them. And I think, I'm not sure about Ron's comment about that insert. I think it's an example of, it's difficult to tell exactly what it looks like based on these drawings. But,
Yeah,
I'm just having a look through the drawings I have here.
I could provide a little sketch of that too, and for what it's worth, I'm going to battle Ron on that. I think it's kind of a neat, unusual, way to articulate the building, and I think in the end, I think it'll be really, really cool.
Mhm.
I don't know that he
You're
had something.
you're referencing the sort of barn sort of situation where there might be a door sort of set in that opened up and let the hay down, right?
Mhm.
I mean, the look that you were thinking of. I think from the side, I don't think you have a real illustration of that from the side, because that part of the building is forward of the smaller building, right? It comes
This piece
forward.
right here on the east here, where my cursor is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have a drawing of what that looks like?
Yeah.
Looking from Wall Street,
I
for instance?
I don't have a rendered drawing of it. Oh, of
Right.
what it would look like from Wall Street with the other building in the foreground? I don't have that.
yeah.
I mean,
Because you'd see it. You'd
This
see it
is-
from,
this is the end of the building,
Yeah.
and
Right.
when you see how. So when you see how. You're gonna see this corner of it from Wall
Mhm.
Street. Just that piece of it. We didn't,
well, it's
spend a
in
lot of
the-
energy trying to make this look like some kind of a. But I suppose if we made it, an English style barn, which would be from the end, Liz, right? Is the English on the gable end or is the American style on the gable end? I forget. But we could do that, and do some sort of a manipulation with some faux doors there,
yeah.
if you felt
Yeah.
it was necessary.
So in this drawing, it looks like it's actually projecting out from the building, but that's not the case. Is that correct?
What's projecting out
What the area that Ron was so concerned about?
over here? Yeah, no, it's got a roof over it. So
Yeah.
it's a carve out, So
Yeah.
so it's
The line goes down. Okay.
yeah. So
And so
that
The
That's what-
right through it to the
that's
wall
what
of the
that's
other next building.
that's what
because the-
maintains that simplicity. This is that
Yeah.
roof that goes over top. of it.
You know what? I think he was looking at this as a projection and didn't see, the vertical line that continues from the
Yeah.
roof down to the ground. I think that's
Yeah.
exactly what he was looking at.
Yeah, this is all one plane. This whole.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
That's how, yeah, I think, and I actually think that's what he was looking at, and it looks fine as a cutout.
Okay.
Take a look at it in a different way. And there's another door there too, right underneath that?
Yeah, and a little more shading here would have been appropriate. We didn't do that.
Yeah.
This isn't
Yeah.
going to be a much bigger shadow line under here that would
Right.
emphasize this whole depth.
I think that view is terrific. It really looks like you've taken an old building and modernized it, really.
That's
So-
that's what we're aiming for.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
So-
I'm glad it strikes you the way we thought of it. We
yeah.
thought it turned out pretty good. It was a struggle at first, believe me.
Well, with the topography of that land, I mean, it's
Hmm.
crazy, really, as it is
Yeah.
now. You're gonna have to do a lot of excavating back there. I imagine. So I think generally, it looks pretty good, Matt.
Mhm.
And the only thing I would like to see would be examples of the materials you're using. And
Okay,
the color, especially when you said white, is it really white? Is it cream as it is in the illustration? It's next to probably the oldest house or next to the oldest house in town. So, you know, it should have that sort of been there a long time kind of feel. And the colors are an important element in that, I
Yeah.
think. But that is the only thing. Otherwise, I would recommend that it go forward after we've seen the material to planning and zoning. Would anybody second that?
Yeah, I'll second it, Liz.
I
Thank
would.
you. And do we have approvals? All in favor
Aye, I like it.
Aye.
or abstinence? Okay, good. I'm sorry Ron wasn't here, but I think we'll sort that out with him for sure.
no, I thank you all for the positive comments, and I, it isn't, especially remotely, it's not an easy building to understand. You need a good half an hour to sit and look at it.
That's good.
Yeah. Because it has a lot of angles and.
Yeah, it has some undulation, so.
Right, but I think it's very attractive. Are those doors sort of a navy blue?
Yeah, they're a deep blue of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I like.
I mean,
that.
I'll give you the exact color. We do have a
Okay.
specific.
Perfect. That would be perfect.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
great.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
much.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. What's next?
Liz?
Yes,
John here. Just to be clear, Matt's going to bring into the town hall, the campus, the materials and some
Yeah.
photographs.
yes,
And then the committee is going to come in, at their leisure to take a look at these materials. And then how would you like to move this forward?
I think, well, we like the plan. We've approved the plan to go
Right.
for planning and zoning, bar seeing it. So if we can do that by email and have a sort of a tight time frame when we will go and see the materials,
Yeah,
so we can get back to them on that.
yeah, you can all get individually back to me, as to how you feel about the materials, the textures.
Yeah.
The colors, and then we can get that to Matt and, maybe move it along now that the plan has been pretty much approved and accepted.
Yes,
Yeah, and I agree. I think it looks good.
yeah,
Okay.
Good.
Great.
All right, excellent.
Thank you. We'll get that over to you by tomorrow.
oh,
All right.
We'll move it right along, Matt.
Okay,
All
great. Appreciate it. Thank you.
so are you back on board now with us, Matt?
Yes, I am.
We've got two more elements on the agenda. One is election of officers and another is review of duties. John, how do you want us to handle this?
Well, I mean, someone could make a motion if you're all satisfied with the present positions on the committee, you could just make a motion to nominate the present slate, as it is now. You could do that with a motion, a second, and then you could vote. Or if you want
I'll
to
make a
changes-
motion. I'll make a motion to leave it the way it is right now.
Okay, so we're gonna nominate the present slate.
Mhm. Fred, you get a second?
That would be good.
We need a
Fred?
second.
Is he still there, John?
Yes. Fred? I don't think he
I
can
think
hear
he's,
us.
I think he's muted. Matt, why don't you second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and review of duties, I think that had to do with the fact that we were going to just go over our responsibilities and our purview as members of ACCA. Is that right, John?
Yeah, if I may, Ron really is the one who brought this up to our attention. I think it would behoove everyone if we table this to maybe next month.
I'm with John.
When Ron is here, and I can put something together, from the ordinances, the regulations from the planning and zoning, and what they expect your charge to be. Then I think that's, if I can hand you something to sort of review and then go over with Ron here, I think that's probably going to be more productive.
That makes much more sense. That would be great.
All right, we'll table that then.
Okay. So we're going to table a review of duties until next month.
Thank
You
you.
want about that?
That's fine.
Need
I
motion?
agree.
Mhm.
Okay, we're all in favor of that.
Great, thank you.
And I'm not sure, I don't think we got the minutes.
You didn't get the minutes?
I didn't know. I don't, from February?
Yeah. Yeah, would have been the, February 8th minutes.
Liz, I read them. The minutes were terrific.
I
I'll make a motion to approve.
Liz, can you see those?
Yeah. Liz, they are perfect. There's not a change on anything.
Hey, I wrote them.
Yeah,
I'd second that.
Why
okay.
I didn't,
There you go,
Anyway.
Matt. Way to go.
all right,
All right.
okay. I'm sorry that I didn't see them, but, all right. Well, I would like to make a motion to, gosh, why do I always forget what it's called?
Adjourn.
Adjourn.
And I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. And thank you, by the all of you, for your participation here. It's seconded by John, I'm sure. All in favor?
Mhm.
Always.
Yep. Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks all.